Hello, this is a video on mouthpieces. So I have 3 different sized mouthpieces with me here right now. I'm just going to explain the differences, pros and cons, and how to hold them, and how to practice playing with only your mouthpiece without your main body of the trumpet connected to it. Okay, so here's something you need to keep in mind. The smaller the number, the bigger the mouthpiece. For example, a 1C mouthpiece would be bigger than a 7C mouthpiece. Very weird, I know, but just wrap your head around that concept. Just think of it as an opposite rule. Okay, so for beginners, I would recommend them to start with a 5C trumpet mouthpiece most of the time, but I heard that some people start with a 7C mouthpiece, so just choose the size that's more comfortable to you, and yeah, just go with it. Use it as training wheels like a bicycle, and then move on to a bigger sized mouthpiece with a smaller number. For example, I started with this mouthpiece over here, 5C, and then after a while I switched to a 1.5C. So the smaller the mouthpiece, the easier it is to play in general and for a long time. However, the sound quality isn't as good. However, if you were to play on a bigger mouthpiece, the sound quality would be better, but it's harder to play in general and for a long time. Okay, so now let's move on to the next part. Why would you even practice without connecting it to the main body of the trumpet? Well, first of all, let me explain what the main body of the trumpet really does. You could think of it as an automatic tuner for your notes and as an amplifier. So for example, if I were to connect my mouthpiece to the main body of the trumpet, I could play only a certain amount of notes with the fingerings that I have. For example, if I were to open, let's say for example, I'm going to use the lower register. I can only play low C, low G, and middle C. So I cannot play a D with an open fingering, for example. It's just impossible. You have to use your first and third fingering. However, without the main body of the trumpet, you can play any note, and that's why it's harder to play at the right pitch and the right note that you want to play. This one really takes practice. I personally recommend practicing with just a mouthpiece because it helps you play better notes when it comes to the pitch, and it also helps you get used to playing the trumpet with your own lips. For example, with only mouthpiece, you can't help but focus on where you place it on your lips, and that's really important because it's different for everyone. You just need to place it where it's comfortable for you and where you know you can play it the best. I personally like to place my mouthpiece here. And this does not come just naturally unless you're some kind of prodigy, but usually you're not. So no one could be good at everything from the beginning, so don't feel bad if you're not able to do this right away. I know I wasn't able to. Just place it like anywhere in your lips. For example, you might start here, but you should try to put it in the center of your lips, but just change it to where it's most comfortable. And yeah. Okay, so it's also good to warm up with this, and it's also really good. I personally really recommend just practicing your buzzing skills on the mouthpiece, especially if you live in an apartment. I'm living in Seoul right now, so I live in an apartment. I'm on the 11th floor, and because of that, because I live in an apartment and not like a huge house by myself or with just my family in the US or any other country, it's not okay for me to usually play on my main body of the trumpet or to make any loud sound really for a long time. Especially if you have sensitive neighbors. Be careful. So, I mean, you could ask for permission to just play anytime you want. If they say yes, good for you. But if not, then you could just play on the mouthpiece. It shouldn't be too loud. And if they complain, well, at least you tried. It's way more quieter than if you were to play it with it connected to the main body of the trumpet. Okay, so now, what kind of things could you practice on a mouthpiece? Well, anything really. I like to personally just, especially when I'm on breaks and I don't have music to practice, then I just play any note or any song that I know. So for example, I could just play a G, or I could play a song. That's just an example. I don't really know the song that well, so I was sort of guessing. Sorry to the Star Wars fans. Hope I was right. But anyways, that's not really the point. You could just play any song or any notes on the mouthpiece. I really recommend this for practicing your pitch and for just keeping your muscles warm and not retired, I guess. Like, some people, like, they just take a complete break from their jobs, for example, or from learning when they don't have to. However, for the trumpet, if you want to keep on playing, you really need to practice it over and over and over so that you don't lose your embouchure muscles. So, yeah. Good for continual practice and pitch practice. Yeah. So thank you for watching. Hope this helps, and please leave a comment on what you would like to learn.